हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। आज के वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे जॉन डॉने और उनकी पोम कैनोनाइजेशन के बारे में। पोम को डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं पोएट के बारे में। John Donne was born in 1572 into a family which was reasonably well established. He was educated at Oxford and Cambridge and went on to practice law. Under the patronage of Lord Egerton, he became a member of the Parliament and had every prospect of a brilliant career in politics. But in 1601, he married his employer's niece, a move which cost him his job and established his career prospects for a while. By 1610, Donne managed to find favor with the king who persuaded him to enter the church. He was ordained in 1615 and in 1621 became the dean of St. Paul's Cathedral, a position which he held until his death in 1631, in which he was very successful. He was immensely respected and his sermons were major crowd pullers. It is interesting to note that his contemporaries regarded him foremost as a man of religion and his interest in poetry was seen as secondary. In fact, Tawney published nothing of his poetry, making no effort to collect it or preserve it, whereas his sermons were prepared carefully for publishing. Donne, who was known to his contemporaries through his sermons and meditations, is primarily known to us through his songs and sonnets and divine poems, collections of love and meditative poems which were published much later after his death. The love poems and the divine poems share roughly the same time period between 1590 and 1614. This was Donne's most creative period as regards verse, after which coincided with his entering the church. He virtually gave up writing poetry and concentrated on prose instead. Donne is the foremost figure in the group of 17th century English poets who wrote poetry which is termed metaphysical poetry. Metaphysical poetry, which includes both love and religious poetry, employs intellectual arguments which arise out of a situation or experience that is essentially emotional. The poets deal with the emotions of love or faith by employing their intellect. A typical feature of their poems is their use of wit or startling and unlikely comparison, which is which in the course of the poem are worked out as eminently logical. For example, in one of Donne's poems, a pair of lovers is compared to a pair of compass needles. पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं उसके कुछ की फीचर्स। कैनोनाइजेशन जो है वो डिस्क्राइब करता है ट्रांसडिसेंट लव के जो इवेंचुअली इवॉल्व्स इनटू द आइडलाइज बेसलाइन फॉर ऑल अदर एस्पायरिंग लवर्स। मतलब एक बेसलाइन की मतलब हाँ मेरा लव स्टोरी भी इसके जैसा होना चाहिए। पोम जो है वो बिगिन करता है स्पीकर से, वो किसी लिसनर को बता रहे दे नीड टू बी क्वाइट एंड लेट हिम लव, और वो लोग बहुत जल्द डिस्कवर कर देंगे कि लव इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग टू द लिसनर और वो वैल्यू दिस अबव ऑल एल्स। स्पीकर जो है गोज ऑन टू टेल द लिसनर टू डू एनीथिंग बट बॉदर हिम अबाउट हिज लव। कहता है कुछ भी करो बट मेरे को लव के लिए ना बॉदर करो। और ये पर्सन could make fun of his quirks, get a job, go to school or meditate on the face of the king. The speaker goes on to describe in what sounds like a rant how his love has not hurt anyone. It has not sunk ships, flooded fields, frozen out the spring, or given anyone the plague. It is harmless to all except the speaker and his lover, for whom it is deeply beneficial. The speaker compares himself and his lover to a phoenix that lives and dies and lives again. Uh, they could get through anything and be remade. He also tells the listener that if they are unable to live as they want on earth, then they will happily die. Once they have ascended the heaven, they will become saints of love. Their position might not afford them great tombs or a place in history, but their story will be told in sonnets and love songs. They will have the ability to look down on earth and see all the lovers praying to them. In conclusion, the speaker states that he knows they will be unhappy with what they see. The lovers on earth will not be able to loving in the correct way. This will enrage the couple. पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करते स्टैंजा वन फॉर गॉड सेक होल्ड योर टंग एंड लेट मी लव और चाइल्ड माई palsy or my gout my 5 gray hairs or ruined fortune flout with wealth your state your mind with arts improve take you a course get you a place observer his honor or his grace or the king's real or his stamped face contemplate what you will approve, so you will let me love. In the first line of the poem, the speaker begins by telling an unknown, unnamed listener to be quiet. He expresses annoyance over the interaction he is having with this person and it states that the only thing he wants to do is love. Something the listener is doing is keeping him from being able to do so. He goes on to give them some options they should pursue rather than distracting him from his love. First, they could move on to making fun of the speaker's palsy or involuntary tremors or his gout. An affliction was uncommon in contemporary society that makes one's joints swell. Or the listener might want to direct their attention to the speaker's gray hairs or take some pleasure from making fun of his lost fortune. Other options the listener might pursue include bettering their state of affairs. This might mean improving their mind with art or making money of their own. Additionally, this person could get a place or a job or take some kind of class. Another option that might appeal more to the listener is contemplating the face of the king, either in real life or stampede, such as on the coin. The speaker doesn't care what this person does as long as he is left alone to love as he will. Stanza 2. Alas, alas, who's injured by my love? What merchant ship have my sighs drowned? Who says my tears have overflowed his ground? When did my coals a forward spring remove? When did the heat which my veins fill add one more to the black guy bill? Soldiers find wars and lawyers find out still. Litigious men which quarrels move, though she and I do love. In this stanza, the speaker begins with a rhetorical question regarding his love and what it's injuring. He knows the answer to be nothing, but hopes the posing of the question will remind the listener and inform the reader that there is no reason he should be kept from loving. This first question is followed by 4 more. He poses possible but unreal scenarios that his love was not involved in. The first of these is the drowning of merchant ships, and the second is the overflowing of land with water. It is clearly outrageous that love could ever cause such disasters as sunken ships and flooded land. Just in case the listener still has misplaced ideas about the speaker's love, he gives 2 more examples. His relationship has not given anyone the plague nor the cold inflicted on his body by his love caused spring to recede early. The world is still turning as it always has. There are the soldiers fighting in battles and the lawyers still live for lawsuits. Everything is going on just as it is supposed to while she and the speaker do love. Stanza 3. Call us what you will. We are made such by love. Call her one, me another fly. We are tapers too, and at our own cost die, and we in us find the eagle and the dove. The phoenix riddle hath more wit by us, we two being one, arid. So to one neutral thing both sexes fit. We die and rise the same, and prove mysterious by this love. In the third stanza, he tells the listener that they can say anything they want about the love between the two, but it does not bother him. The speaker is confident in he who he is and how he is living because he is directed by love. It makes the couple into who they are. He compares himself and his lover to tapers or candles. The burning of their flame causes their demise and he knows it. No matter what the listener thinks of them, they compare themselves to a phoenix. They are not doves or eagles, but something grander and perhaps more magical. The phoenix has more wit, meaning it takes more sense and applies more aptly to their situation. Together, they are becoming one creature, one neutral thing. Just as the phoenix is said to die and then be reborn, they can overcome all obstacles and return to one another, all because of the mysteries of love. Stanza 4. We can die by it, if not, live by love, and if unfit for tombs and years, a legend be, it will be fit for verse. And if no piece of chronicle we prove, we will build on sonnets pretty rooms, as well a well-wrought urn becomes the greatest ashes as half-acre tombs, and by these hymens all shall approve us canonized for love. If life proves to be too much of an obstacle for the couple, they are willing to face death. They can die by it. If they are unable to live by love, they would rather die than survive in a world without one another. The speaker is setting out a world in which their lives are unfit for traditional remembrance via a tomb or marker. Instead, they will be known through verse or song, just like this one. In this next lines, he states that they might not make their way into a chronicle, likely a reference to a history book. That's okay with him, though, as they will end up in a sonnet. This is a much more appropriate place anyway, as it will contain their pretty rooms. They do not fit the description of the great ones who end up in well wrought urns and in half acre tombs. Their lives are not so grand. The sonnets they will end up in will allow them exposure to a larger audience. This way, their story will be heard by many and perhaps finally accepted. The couple will become so popular that they will be canonized or made into saints for love. From then on out, anyone who needs help and love will pray to them. Stanza 5. And thus invoke us, you whom reverend love made one another's hermitage, you to whom love was peace, that now is rage, who did the whole world's soul contract and rove into the glasses of your eyes, so made such mirrors and such spies, that they did all to you epitomize. Countries, towns, courts beg from above a pattern of your love. The fifth stanza of the canonization solidifies this future position of the lovers as saints of love. Donne's seeker turns again to the listener and tells them that everyone will invoke the saints, who, when they do so, the audience will speak on the hermitage the lovers created. It will be a place of safety for anyone in love. Now that the lovers in this fantasy created by the speaker are in heaven, they can look down on earth, they hear prayers for and from everyone. All is not as they would have it though. The love shared amongst the people of earth is incorrect. Their pattern of love is not the idle one. The love that once gave them pleasure on earth has turned into a rage in heaven. The couple is upset by the fact that Everyone on earth seems unable to live up to their standard. Poetic devices. In the canonization, John Donne employs various poetic devices, including paradox, metaphor, conceit, and rhetorical questions, to elevate the speaker's love affair to a level of sainthood and defend it against societal criticism. Paradox. The poem's title, The Canonization, itself is a paradox, as it suggests a religious process of sainthood, while the poem is about a passionate love affair. Metaphor. Donne uses metaphors to compare the speaker and his beloved to religious figures such as the eagle and the dove, and to natural phenomena like tapirs and flies, suggesting their love is a powerful transformative force. Conceit. The poem is rich in conceits, which are elaborate and extended metaphors that draw comparisons between seemingly disparate things such as love and religious devotion, or the speaker and his beloved, to natural elements. Rhetorical question. The speaker uses rhetorical questions to challenge the audience's assumption about the love and to emphasize the unique nature of its relationship. For example, alas, alas, who was injured by my love? Anaphor. Donne uses anaphor, where he repeats the words at the beginning of two clauses or a successive verses, or chide my palsy, or my gout, or the king's reel, or a stamped face. Mesotoplosis, mesodiplosis is used in the fifth verse of the stanza technique, where a word or a clause is repeated in the middle of stanza, verse, or a imagery. Donne uses vivid imagery such as ships, spring, disease to show what the speaker loves does not do. Form. The poem is structured in five stanzas, each with a rhyme scheme of A B B A C C D D, which unifies the poem around a central theme. Rhyme. The poem is rhymed with the fourth and eighth lines of each stanza, ending with a word, also ending off. The pattern is consistently A B B A C C C A A. Themes. The primary theme of John Donne's The Canonization is the power and holiness of love, arguing that a passionate, enduring love can be as worthy of veneration as the lives of saints, and that the lovers themselves should be canonized for their love. Love as a sacred force. The poem challenges the notion that love is merely a fleeting emotion, instead, portraying it as a powerful, transformative, and even holy force. The speaker, addressing a friend who is critical of his love, argues that their love is so profound that it deserves to be celebrated and remembered even after death. Canonization as a metaphor. The title, The Canonization, is not literal, but rather a metaphor. The speaker is not suggesting that he and his beloved are actual saints, but rather that their love is so exceptional that it deserves a form of canonization, a recognition and celebration of its importance. Defiance of societal norms. The poem also reflects a defiance of societal expectations and criticism. The speaker is unapologetic about his love, even if it is unconventional or considered inappropriate by some. Love as a unifying force. The poem argues that love can unite two individuals in a way that transcends the ordinary world and its conflicts. Love as asceticism. The speaker presents love as a form of asceticism, suggesting that lovers forego their pursuits and worldly ambitions to focus on their relationship. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद है। कैसी लगे हमें कमेंट करके बताएं, और हमें ये भी कमेंट करके बताएं कि आप आने वाली वीडियोस किस टॉपिक पर देखना चाहते हैं। अगर वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे। टिल देन कीप वॉचिंग एंड कीप सपोर्टिंग द सोलफुल डायरी।